Hello, everyone. This is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. And today I am speaking with Nancy Parode. Nancy is a world traveler. She is a travel writer and the expert for About.com for senior and boomer travel. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
It's great to have you here. You know, Nancy, we love talking about travel in the 60 and Me community. A lot of us are however, on smaller pensions or smaller salaries. And so staying in big fancy hotels is just not going to work for us anymore. I know you've got some thoughts on this, and I'd love you to share your ideas on hotel places or accommodation that women over 60 could try.
Sure. There are a couple of options out there that are a little bit non-traditional, but you can actually save a good amount of money and be safe and comfortable if you're not looking for, as you said, super luxurious accommodations. One that I've tried with great success is youth hostels. You can find youth hostels pretty much all over the world. Some of them you need to join Hosteling International, which is the worldwide youth hosteling organization. It's not very expensive to join. And you can join annually, so you don't have to spend the money until you actually want to book a room at a hostel. But hostels don't just have the big dorm rooms with everybody snoring away and coming in at all hours of the day and night. They actually do have smaller rooms for 2 people and 4 people, and we've traveled very successfully that way. Sometimes the shower is in the room, and sometimes it's down the hall. Levels of cleanliness can vary, so I always tell people to pack their shower shoes when they go. But we've really been pleased with how much money we've saved. And in some cases, we've stayed right in the heart of, for example, in Germany, you can stay right downtown. Usually they have good tips on where to go, where to eat, where to park your car without having it get towed. The people who work at youth hostels are very savvy travelers, used to getting by on a low budget and still getting out and exploring the city and the surrounding area. So that's definitely an option to consider. You do not have to be a college student to stay at a youth hostel.
And you meet fun and interesting people.
Oh, yes, you do. From everywhere, too.
Another place I know that you talk about is university housing. I've stayed at university campus during the months when students aren't on the campus. Tell us a bit about that. That seems like a good option, too.
Sure, it is. What you need to do if you are looking at a specific university or universities in a particular city that you might like to visit is contact their housing office. So that number will be on the university website. Many colleges and universities do rent out dorm rooms during the summer break. They often don't during the Christmas holiday break because it's short, but you can find different kinds of accommodations at a university depending on how old their dormitories are. Some might be more like apartment style with a little bedroom, and then you would share a kitchen and either a bathroom facility there or showers down the hall, again, depending on the structure of the dormitory. But generally, it's not very expensive. And again, because universities tend to be, populated by people on a budget, college students, probably close to public transportation, and there might even be a place that you could eat on the campus. It depends a little bit on where you are, but it's definitely a nice way to travel. And again, it's a wonderful way to meet people from all over the world who are just like you, wanting to explore, save a bit of money in the process, and really find a way to be in the heart of a particular city or community.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Another idea that I've never tried, but I think you probably have, is staying at a monastery or a spiritual center of some kind.
Right. Particularly in Europe, this is an option that is available to travelers. In the Roman Catholic tradition of monasteries, in the Middle Ages, monasteries would offer hospitality to travelers. Some religious orders literally could not turn people away. It was part of their rule that they lived by, that they offered hospitality to anyone who came. And that tradition still exists, not just in Catholic monasteries, but also some other denominations have lodgings that they've built. There's a great series of guidebooks out there called Good Night and God Bless that I highly recommend. I had a chance to have a little interview with the author a few years ago when she started the series, and she has explored all of these convents and monasteries in different parts of Europe and has all kinds of tips, which have elevators, which don't, which are luxurious, which are more simple. Sometimes in a convent or a monastery, you might not be able to stay with an entire family unit, you might have to split up women or that type thing, depending on what their rules are. And again, sometimes you might find yourself in a very simple, clean, nice room, but with a bed and a lamp and a table and probably not too much else. So it's nice to have a guidebook that you can look at to see if that's the kind of accommodation that you would like.
It sounds great to me. It sounds like exactly what you need, just a nice bed in a nice, comforting, safe place. And because you're out and about when you're traveling all the time, you're hardly ever in your room. So, but anyway, that's a great option. So we've got hostels, we've got monasteries, and also what about Airbnb? Let's go there because we've talked about this in the community quite a bit. There's a mixed, sense of comfort about putting yourself out there in a home of someone you don't know. But what is your experience with Airbnb? What's your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation comes from another travel writer I met recently at a travel media showcase who has traveled all over the world and has used Airbnb very successfully. He is definitely someone in the senior community, and he highly recommended it to me. He said the one thing that he would recommend to any traveler is to contact the homeowner and make sure that you actually will get to sleep in a bed. He said he usually tries to stay with hosts who are over 40 years old because they understand his need to not sleep on the floor now that he is also over 40 years old. But you can be very successful with Airbnb. You have to do a little bit of homework, as you would with any place you would stay. Find out what the neighborhood's like. You might consider using something like Google Street View. Use the internet to help you do a little video tour of the neighborhood and make sure that it's in an area that is okay for you, that you feel comfortable with. But in this day and age, there are a lot of people who want to travel and save money or want to earn a little extra money, and they have some extra space. And Airbnb is a great way to connect those two groups together. So it's definitely something to look into, and I think most people will find it to be an interesting option.
And related to that is home exchange, where you can actually rent or trade your home. So someone comes and stays in your place, and then you go around. Several women have in the community have said they've done that successfully.
Oh, yes. Home exchanges have been around for decades. College professors started home exchanges a long time ago so that they could swap with other college professors and stay in a different community during the university breaks. There are a lot of home exchange organizations available that you can work with. And that's a good way to go because they usually have ways that you can connect with other homeowners and sort of discuss the ground rules before you make a commitment to trade homes. Most home exchanges, you trade at the same time. So you go to their house and they come to yours. But you can also do sort of an asynchronous trade where you trade at different times. So scheduling is not such an issue the way that you might assume that it.
And the good thing about that is that once you've established your membership in that group, you don't pay when you go to someone else's house most of the time. You actually, it's a free exchange. So that's actually definitely a benefit.
Exchange. That's the whole idea. And if you are exchanging your home, you can set the rules. Some homeowners will allow use of a car, for example, which is really handy. If you are going to another country, then you don't have to rent a car. You have a place to park said car. And again, the idea of a home exchange is that you do a free swap and with ground rules. So, you can say, well, I have wireless internet that you can use, but please don't make long distance. In this day of smartphones, most people don't need to do that anyway. But good communication is the key to a successful home exchange. But this is something that's been around for a really long time, and there's lots of information on how to make it work for you.
So I think we've covered some really good options. If you want to travel and you're on a limited budget, or if you just don't want to spend a lot on your hotel accommodation, there's some really good options there for you. So thanks for those suggestions. I hope that people take them up. And I'm definitely going to follow up on that monastery option. That sounds like a really cool experience. So thank you so much, Nancy.
I think you'll like it. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.